Hello there, this is Sheldon. Welcome back to iOS tutorials. Today I will start a series of tutorials of making our own PDF file downloader and reader from scratch. So throughout the whole project, I will say the following knowledge will be used. So first, we're going to use Cocoapods to download our SDK. Typically, we're going to use iLemonFire SDK for the downloading part, and also we will use MB Progress HUD SDK to show that downloading indicator when we download our file. Secondly, we will show all the UI elements in table view. I plan to make the project like we can download multiple PDF files, and because we are putting buttons into UI table view, we will need protocol and delegation to trigger our action, because in that case we cannot drag IVOLs for those buttons and actions directly into our table view. We will drag those things into our cell file, which we will need to locate which cell you are typing. So we will use protocol and delegation to trigger our event. Also, because we are downloading our file into our local file system, then we will need NSFilemanager to access our local stored file. And in the end, we will show our PDF into WK Web View. I mean, the reason that we don't want to use UI Web View is that WK Web View is newly recommended by Apple from WWDC 16. So in this case, I mean, if they recommend us to use WK Web View, at least we should try it. So for the whole flow, we will use a navigation controller. In that case, we can navigate from different view controllers. So yeah, in the first part, which is within this video tutorial, I will show, starting from the configuration of our project into workspace, we will use Cocoapods. Talk is cheap. Let's write some code. So here we are at Xcode, and let's quickly create our new project, probably named as PDF demo, and hit next and hit create. Okay, so now we're having our project, and the next thing you need to know is where did you create your project. So the reason we need that file location is that we're going to use Cocoapods to configure our project. In that case, we need to know the exact folder location. So if I list all my files, I can go to desktop list. I can go to PDF demo. So this will be the exact file location that we have our project. So because we're going to use Cocoapods to configure our system, so one thing that you need to make sure is that you have already download and install your Cocoapods. To do that is quite easy. You just use sudo gem install Cocoapods. So in this case, you will install your Cocoapods. Doesn't matter because I've already downloaded it. So Cocoapods is already there in my system. So in this case, we are entering of the folder that has our project, as you can see, Xcode project. And then you will need to do is just type pod install. Pod init. So the first step is to init your file. So if you come to your folder of your project, you will find one new file is added after we hit pod init. So in this case, this pod file is generated. In here, we can type whatever framework we're going to use. In that case, Cocoapods will automatically help us to configure our project into workspace. Okay, so let's come back here. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're going to use iLemonFire framework to download our content. So if you scroll down to the installation part, it also have some instruction of how to install Cocoapods. So, but we gonna use this part. We just need to copy. We just need to copy paste pod alarmifier. This part is optional, but this makes sure you are downloading the latest SDK there. And next step, we will do the same for the MB progress HUD. So if you've never heard MB progress HUD, it's just like a very widely used downloading indicator. In this case, you can have different styles of downloading because we're going to use this kind of progress bar to show the downloading process. That's the reason I want to use this MB progress HUD SDK. So similarly, you just copy pod MB progress HUD 1.000 and paste here. So save your file and come back to your terminal. So in the terminal, you can hit pod install this time. So after some time, everything is configured. As you can see here, is setup completed, and then it's installed alarmifier, and then after that is installed MB progress HUD, and following it has a version. But the final thing is that if you remember, we were having a project, then a folder, but now we're having a workspace. So we can close our project and then open our workspace only. So in this case, you may notice here, it will generate another project called Pods, and every framework that we try to import there is automatically linked here. And if we come to the PDF demo file, you will see in the linked frameworks and libraries, it shows the Pods PDF demo framework is linked. So in this case, we can use these frameworks in our project. So let's open our storyboard. Because eventually I'm gonna put everything, because I want to download multiple PDF. So let's delete our UI view controller and create a table view controller. And drag it here. And as I said, we're gonna use navigation controller. So come to editor and embed in navigation controller. Okay. And don't forget to set your navigation controller as the initial controller of your storyboard. In this case, first it will land in this navigation controller. Automatically, it will come to our table view controller. We need to delete this view controller file as well because we are not using it anymore. And we're gonna create our own file called UI table view controller. Let's say home. So we are creating our home table view controller here, and we can drag it down here. Okay. So delete this one. Okay. And if we come to the storyboard, we need to link this view controller with the file that we just created there. So in this case, we're having our home table view controller. And if we come to the class itself, we can manipulate something like number of sections, 1, and number of rows. We can return 5 there. So let's quickly run our project to see what's going to happen. I mean, we're not running our project itself, we're running our workspace. So typically we are doing nothing. We just define a number of sections as 1 and number of rows as 5. And in the simulator, we can see the result. Okay, seems there's some issue that something is crashing. So the reason it is crashing is that we are returning number of rows, but because number of rows will be a method of data source. And then if we decide to use the data source method here for the table view, we have to use another data source method for self-row at index path. But the storyboard, we didn't configure anything. Although I said this, we can try to set the table view cell as basic. It's still, we have to configure this file. So if we change to the number of rows to be 0, the app will not crashing. So means we just try to return a number that is not configured. So it means we try to return something that is not existing, so which is not supposed to be done. Okay, so at least we now have our table view. So we can uncomment this method, which is self-row at index path, which is also a data source method of table view. So let's define our cell. If we come to our storyboard, and we can define our cell identifier as cell, easily as cell, and we're gonna use custom cell. So in this case, we will be able to just 2 buttons, I guess. One will be download, and second will be view. Also, we're gonna use a label to show the PDF file name that we're gonna download. Okay, so yeah, probably that's all the elements that we're gonna use. 2 buttons and 1 label in the cell. So let's create a cell file now. Go to File, New File, and we're gonna create a Cocoapods class, which will be a UI table view cell class, and we just name it table view cell. In this time, we're gonna choose this folder and directly create this file. So if we come back to our storyboard and hit this double circle button, we can find our cell file. If it's not automatically found, you just need to manually find it, which will be table view cell. Okay, so yes, so another thing is you need to make the class of the cell to be table view cell, which is the class name that you just create there, which is matching this one. So in this case, you can drag all the actions and IBLs there. Oh, I see. So when we configure our table view as static, there will be some problem. Yes, the reason we cannot drag there is that we configure our table view as static cells. I mean, by default, it will be dynamic prototypes. In this case, we can drag our IBLs there. So let's find our cell file again. And this time we will be able to drag our label. Let's say name label. This will be an action. I mean, first we can define our IBLate as well. So download button and view button. And also we will need 2 actions. Download tabbed. And as well as view tabbed. So in the final project, when we tap download, it will start to download our PDF file, and then if we tap view, it will show our table, I mean PDF file content. Okay, so we are configured our cell quite well, and then if we come back to our view controller, we just type cell here, and we can typecast it to table view cell. In this case, we can put cell dot name title text. I mean, what was the name of the label? Name label. Dot text is equal to test, and let's return 5 of them. So we're gonna return a table that has 1 section and 5 rows, and all the rows will show test. Yes, so it seems we have configured our table without any problem. And next thing is just simply download our files. So as you can see in the top of the screen, I have prepared an array of strings, which will be the URLs that we're gonna download. I mean, these links will be the URL for those PDF files. As you can see, it's from by the end is Apple Developer Agreement.pdf file. So we're going to change our number of rows in section here for the table view. Just use pdf array.count. In this case, we're going to have exact number of rows as they count for this PDF array. And for the name label, we can do something like to show the PDF file name. We can try to do PDF array index path.row to find that exact string link name, but we're gonna use the file name, so we will use components separate by /last. This case, we're gonna find this part as our text. So we can run our project again, and you will see now we will have 1 section in the table view, and we will only have 3 rows, with all rows having the exact same name as the file name. I will next thing I will do is to finish our action part. So the thing is, if you come to our UI, when you hit download, actually you don't know which button you are hitting, and because we cannot directly drag our button into view controller, into table view controller, because we're making our cell dynamic, so we can only drag those actions here. I mean, if you print anything like download tabbed, sure, it will do, but we need to locate which exact button that we are typing. View tabbed. Let's try to run our project. You will see some thing that we have to do. I mean, we can easily solve this by using protocol and delegation. Okay, so every button you are hitting, it will print out download tab, and now we need to identify which button or which file we really want to download. To solve this, we're going to create a protocol, and we're going to name it as table, how to say, cell delegate. Yeah, simply cell delegate. And we will create different functions. So let's create one function called func date click download button. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna send our info as UI table view cell. And next function we're gonna create called date click view button, and also we will send our UI cell information there. Okay, so next thing we need to do is just to, in our cell and our class of cell, we create weak var. In this case, we can avoid some edge case that generate a strong reference loop. Okay, so we will define delegate is cell delegate. Okay, so we're creating our delegate called cell delegate, which is type of cell delegate. Is weak maybe only apply to class and class bound protocol. Okay, let's leave it for now and let's see. So in this case, we will use our delegate to invoke date click download button, and we will send self back to our view controller. And similarly, delegate dot date click view button, also we will send self. Okay, so let's temporarily delete the weak, but the thing is, for delegation, it's better to make it weak to avoid return cycle. Somehow it's not allowing here, I don't know the reason, but we can check it later. And we will make delegate and date click this one to be invoked. Okay, so if we come back to our home table view controller, in this case we have to adopt our cell delegate. Okay, so in the cell for row, of course, we will need to set cell dot delegate is equal to self. Okay, in this case, we are making sure we are adopting our cell delegate, and here at the end we can implement our delegate method. Custom cell delegate methods, and let's date click. Yeah, we can implement our date click button here. So we can use self dot table view dot index path for cell. Okay, so in this case we can define our index path, and we can print index path dot row. Similarly, for date click view button, we can define our index path as well. Self.tableview.index path for cell, and we can print index path dot row. Okay, this is how we locate which button we are clicking. So after this, we can start our download flow. Yes, as you can see, when I hit the first button, it shows download tabbed, and it shows the index is 0. Similarly for 1 and 2, and view 0, view 1, and view 2. So using this protocol and delegation, we are able to defining our button and actions. And also we have configured this table view. Also, before I finish the first part, I would really to configure a little bit for our table view. So self.tableview.footer table footer view is equal to UI view. Okay, so we are creating an empty view for the table footer view. In this case, from line 4 to the end will be removed. And also we can set our self.title is equal to PDF demo. And let's run our project. Okay, So as you may notice, at the end all the rows are removed, and then in the title we're having a PDF file demo there. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done with the first part of the whole tutorial series. In the first part, we have learned how to use Cocoapods, how to configure our project into workspace with Cocoapods, and we will use two frameworks. One is MB Progress HUD, and the other one is Fire. That there's some method we can download our PDF file into local file manager. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video and stay tuned for next tutorials. In next part, I will finish the download flow and make sure everything is downloaded into our local system. And in that case, we can use NSFilemanager. We can do something using NSFilemanager, and after that, we will show everything into WK WebView. Okay, I hope you like this tutorial. Please subscribe if you have any questions. Just leave comments, and if you like this video, please leave a like. Also, if you want to share, you're very encouraged to do that. Share with your friends. Okay, so I hope to see you soon in next tutorial.